Beloved, abundance is not a stranger standing at someone else's door. It is not a gift reserved for the fortunate few who were born into the right name or the right season. Abundance is a law, and like all laws, it does not play favorites. It does not wake early for one and sleep late for another. It operates with the precision of sunrise, with the faithfulness of gravity, with the constancy of a river that does not stop flowing simply because someone forgot to drink from it. The great error of this age is that people have reduced abundance to money alone, and in doing so, they have narrowed the channel through which all good must flow. But I tell you, beloved, abundance is the nature of God made visible in your life. It is health that does not waver. It is peace that does not fracture under pressure. It is opportunity that finds you even when you were not looking. It is joy that does not require an occasion. And yes, it is also money, flowing freely, arriving consistently, dwelling comfortably in every area of your life. But if you chase only the money and neglect the fullness, you will find the money restless, quick to arrive, and quicker still to leave. The law of overflow demands the whole vessel be prepared, not just the mouth of it. So today, beloved, we do not speak only of calling a sum, we speak of calling a life so aligned with the law of abundance that every form of good recognizes your address and delivers without delay. Begin here. Begin with the truth that you were not born into scarcity. Scarcity was taught to you. It was handed to you in the worried voices of those who loved you but lived in fear. It was pressed into your thinking by a world that measures worth by what is lacking rather than by what is possible. But teaching can be unteached. A belief taken on can be set down. The moment you understand that abundance is your inheritance, not your aspiration, the entire posture of your inner life begins to shift. Think of it this way, beloved. A child who does not know they are heir to a great estate will work and scrape and settle for crumbs at the edge of a table, spread with plenty, not because the plenty is withheld, but because the knowledge is. And knowledge, once given, changes everything. So receive this now as the knowledge that changes everything for you. You are heir to an estate with no boundary. The storehouse of God is not running low. It has not heard of recession. It has never been audited and found wanting. It has never turned a soul away and said, "I gave too much last season. Come back in the spring." That storehouse is eternal, and it is yours to draw from, not timidly, not apologetically, but boldly, joyfully, with the full confidence of one who knows to whom they belong. But beloved, knowing your inheritance is not enough. You must take possession of it in your inner world before it can appear in your outer one. This is the law of overflow in its first motion. What you hold on the inside must exceed what appears on the outside. A river that overflows its banks does not do so because the rain has just begun to fall. It overflows because the rain has been falling steadily, faithfully, until the ground is saturated and the water has nowhere left to go but outward. In the same way, when you saturate your mind with the reality of abundance, when every thought is watered with belief and every picture is soaked in gratitude, your good will overflow into the visible without strain, without force, and without struggle. This is why the law does not reward the anxious seeker. Anxiety is the opposite of saturation. Anxiety is a drought of faith. It draws the moisture out of your belief and leaves the soil of your mind cracked and resistant. Nothing will root in anxious ground. I have seen people pray with passion and work with dedication and still wonder why the harvest does not come. And when I look closely, I find their inner conversation is louder than their outer declaration. They say abundance aloud and whisper lack in the quiet rooms of their own thinking. They decree the blessing with their lips and revoke it with their worry. And so, the law obeys the deepest instruction, not the loudest one. So today, I call you to align the inner and the outer. Let your inner conversation match your declaration. When you say, "Abundance is mine," let the voice inside agree, fully, without reservation, without a whispered footnote of doubt trailing behind it. Now let us speak of the law's second motion, and that is the motion of expectation. Beloved, expectation is not the same as hope. Hope says, "Perhaps it will come." Expectation says, "It is already on the way." And there is a world of difference between the two. Hope keeps you at the window, watching and wondering. Expectation moves you into the kitchen to prepare the meal, because the guest is expected and you are ready. The law of abundance is drawn to expectation the way water is drawn to an open vessel. It cannot fill a covered cup. It cannot enter a home whose door is locked with doubt. When you expect your abundance, you remove every lock. You throw open the windows of your imagination and let the light of infinite supply pour in until every corner is illuminated and there is no shadow left for lack to hide in. Practice expectation like a discipline. When you rise in the morning, rise as one whose good is already moving toward them. When you step outside, step as one whose day holds appointments with blessing. When you rest at night, rest as one who knows that even while they sleep, the law is working, arranging, positioning, preparing the channels through which your overflow will come. This is not self-deception, beloved. It is spiritual accuracy. The truth of the unseen is always ahead of the truth of the seen. What is invisible today is real today, and what is real in the invisible must one day become visible, because the law is exact and it does not lose its deliveries. Let us turn now to the matter of preparation. Because, beloved, the law of overflow will not pour into a vessel that has not been made ready. When a farmer desires a great harvest, they do not wait for the seed to fall from the sky. They plow. They turn the soil. They remove the stones. They create the conditions for growth. The harvest is God's to send. The preparation is theirs to make. And when both are present, both the divine supply and the human preparation, the harvest is not a possibility. It is a certainty. In your life, preparation looks like order. It looks like gratitude for what you already have, because gratitude is the water that softens the soil of your mind and makes it receptive. Many people want a greater abundance, but despise the portion they already hold. They say, "This little is not enough to be grateful for." But I tell you, ingratitude is the fastest way to close the door on overflow. The law reads your inner attitude toward current supply as your instruction for future supply. If you say, "What I have is not worth tending," the law says, "Then we will send no more for now." But if you hold what you have with thanksgiving, if you bless the small before the great has arrived, you are telling the law, "This one is ready. This one knows how to receive." And the law will say, "Then let us send more. I can." Preparation also looks like action. Faith without corresponding action is like a sail with no wind. It hangs still and goes nowhere. When you believe abundance is coming, act in accordance with that belief. Make the call you have been postponing. Write the proposal you have been delaying. Take the step that fear has been whispering is too soon. Action in faith is a powerful signal to the law that you are serious, that you are ready, that you are not merely dreaming, but moving toward the dream with your whole self. Beloved, there is a thief that has stolen more abundance from this generation than any other. Its name is comparison. When you look at another's overflow and measure it against your current portion, you do not inspire yourself. You diminish yourself. You take your eyes off your own path and stumble on someone else's. The law of abundance has a specific design for your life that looks like no one else's. Your overflow will come in the season, through the channels, and in the forms that are particular to you and your purpose. The one who compares is always poor, regardless of what they possess. Because there will always be a table set more lavishly somewhere else in the world, always a harvest more visible, always a vessel that appears more full. And if you measure your abundance by those vessels, you will live in a perpetual state of not enough. But the one who blesses another's overflow and keeps their own eyes fixed on the source will find that their supply increases steadily, quietly, faithfully, like a stream that deepens with every season. So today, release comparison. Release the habit of scanning the horizon for proof that someone else has more. Turn instead and look at the source, and let the source fill your own vessel to overflowing. Now hear this, beloved. Overflow is not meant to stop at your shore. The law of abundance is designed to flow through you, not merely to you. When you receive with the intention to share, to bless, to expand the good in the world around you, you do not empty your supply. You enlarge the channel through which it flows. Think of how a river carved wider by great water can carry greater water still. As you become a generous soul, one who gives freely, blesses openly, and shares without fear of running dry, you are widening your own channel. Generosity is not the enemy of abundance, it is its companion. Those who hoard their good out of fear find it grows stale and strange in their hands. But those who let it flow, who use it for good, who see it as a living current meant to move and multiply, discover that the more they release, the more arrives to be released again. This is not a teaching that asks you to give what you do not have. I am not telling you to empty yourself into scarcity. I am telling you to give from abundance consciousness, from the inner knowing that your source is limitless and that what you release with love and faith returns multiplied. Every act of genuine generosity is a declaration to the law. It says, I am not afraid of running out. My supply is divine, and divine supply does not run out. And the law, hearing this declaration lived out in action, responds with a corresponding overflow. Beloved, let me speak now to those of you who have been waiting a long time, who have spoken the words, held the pictures, maintained the expectation, and yet the visible harvest seems delayed. I do not tell you that you have failed. I tell you that you have not yet seen the fullness of what is already growing. The seed does not sprout according to the farmer's impatience. It sprouts according to its own divine design, in the perfect moment of its readiness. Your work in the waiting is not to force the ground open, but to keep watering with faith, to keep the soil of your belief soft and receptive, to resist the temptation, to dig up the seed, and demand to see its roots. The waiting period is not empty, it is full of invisible movement, of divine arrangement, of circumstances being aligned and people being positioned and doors being made ready to swing open. What looks like delay is often the law completing the details you could not have arranged yourself. The moment you trust the process as thoroughly as you trust the promise, the waiting loses its weight and becomes instead a time of joyful anticipation. And here is the encouragement your heart needs in this season. Not one sincere decree of faith has ever been lost. Not one genuine call to abundance has drifted away unanswered. The law does not misplace your order. It does not forget your claim. It is working precisely and perfectly on your behalf, right now, in this very moment, even as you read these words. So now, beloved, let us bring every thread together into one strong cord of truth. Abundance is your inheritance, not your aspiration. The storehouse from which it comes is boundless, and it knows your name. You do not earn this overflow by suffering or by striving beyond your strength. You receive it by aligning your inner world with the truth of divine supply, by saturating your thought with abundance, by speaking with the voice of one who already possesses what they have claimed, by preparing the vessel of your life through order, gratitude, and faithful action, by releasing the burden of comparison and fixing your eyes on the source, and by flowing what you receive with the generosity of one who knows the river does not run dry. From this moment forward, Speak abundance into every area of your life, not just into your finances, but into your health, your relationships, your peace, your purpose. Call it all by name. Hold it in your inner vision with warmth and clarity. Wrap it in the living cloth of gratitude, and then prepare, act, give, receive. The law of overflow is moving even now. It has been waiting for a vessel like yours to be ready, wide open, full of faith, alive with expectation. Today, beloved, you become that vessel. And when the overflow comes, and it will come, when it pours into your life, and you find yourself standing in more blessing than you thought possible, remember to tell your story. Speak it aloud. Let others know that the door to abundant living was never locked. It was only waiting for someone willing to turn the handle and walk through. The law is exact, your faith is alive, and your overflow is already on its way home.